Hey there, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Jamie, and we're your co-hosts for Two Clicks in a Pod.
Join us as we explore our missed times, stories, and memories due to divorce and 1,000-mile separation.
I can't wait. You ready to get into it, Kev?
I am. Hey, Jamie, you think they're going to swear?
Oh, yeah. Consider yourselves warned.
Hey, long time no see.
Well, hi there.
What's going on?
Nothing. Just, I'm
man.
here.
Yeah,
I meant to tell you when we first jumped on here, I think this is the first time I've seen you in black on black like that. Black shirt, black hat.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yeah, it's stars don't normally have. I was looking for my green stars hat and I couldn't find it, but yep, got the black one on. I'm a big fan of black on black, being an Oakland Rainer fan from my little kid days.
Well, not only it looks nice, and you look thin, Dad.
You know, I was noticing that.
What does that feel like?
So.
How does it feel to look thin?
Well, yeah, that's a good call. I mean, it's still, I think things are moving around a little bit differently. With working on the weights here, that's made a big difference. I was in a panic last night, actually, after laying down, and we'd been in Florida at Pensacola for the weekend, but came back and I twitched and I felt this, what I thought was a cyst or, like a growth in the middle of my kind of lower back area there.
Yeah.
And I realized.
What is
I
it?
realized it was more I felt it. I said, Suzanne, you got to feel this. It's a little bit tender, but I mean, I've never noticed that strain, that length of, and I said, it may be a muscle. So, you know how you do those dumbbell overhead weight walks? I finished 4 weeks of doing that daggone exercise where you're walking, one arm and the other arm. And
yeah,
I think it was just a muscle twitching. And I said, man, there you go. That's proving the pudding it's working. So I appreciate the compliment, number one. But yeah, it's, I came back from the first trip to Florida. I guess we'll talk about that as well. But then we had to go back to Florida for the weekend for a couple of different reasons. One was to take advantage of regaining my companion pass on Southwest Airlines. If we took a trip in March, it would allow us, we lost that companion pass at the end of February. So this actually reignited the companion pass. So that's the reason we went down to Pensacola to spend just the weekend in, and always wanted to see what we thought of Pensacola. And they have the Ice Flyers hockey team down there.
In Pensacola, they do call that the Redneck Riviera.
Well, that's actually in Alabama next door. But yes, it is a part of the Redneck Riviera. You're right. There's not really much. I'm just curious.
Would you say
Pensacola? Well,
they have the what military base is there? The military presence is in Pensacola.
Well, the Naval Air Station's there. We actually went to the museum there at the Naval Air Station where the Blue Angels fly out of.
I was just going to tell you, my CEO of Tryouts lives in Pensacola now, and they hit up that Blue Angels air show like every year.
Yep.
It's right there. So as soon as we started talking about it, I remember they had the Blue Angels there.
Yeah, we were there Saturday doing a tour, and that thing is incredible. I would think it'd be any grandchild's dream to be in that museum, but that's me because I love aviation, as you know. But it's amazing listening to these old timer pilots give you the tour, as they are Vietnam vets, obviously no World War II vets, but Korean, Vietnam, and thereafter. And we had the cutest old man. Well, there was two of them, but William was our tour guide. And anyway, they've got the Blue Angel. They've been through many different aircraft. I actually saw the F-14. I took a picture for you,
nice.
Which I'm not so sure he was not an F-14, because the F-14 is actually the dual seat fighter that you see in Top Gun. So we only had a single seater. So I'm guessing
F-16, okay.
F-16
is smaller then?
Yeah, it's a little bit sleeker, but the 14 is the one that's famous for Top Gun. There is they fly the F-18 Hornet, I believe, as the Blue Angels. So I'm not sure. I think I quoted it as an F-16 in our taping, but
We did.
which is
We
a
did
single
say.
seat jet. So, the Navy and the Air Force, I found out, they don't fly the same aircraft. They're different. They're different models. So
Interesting.
But yes, the Blue Angels are starting practice the 1st of April, and I was really ashamed and upset that we weren't there in April, because on Tuesday you can watch them practice. And then on Wednesday, they come to the museum for a meet and greet handshaking
Very cool
ceremony or hour or whatever, just getting to know the people that are there.
Have you ever watched a Blue Angels show before?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I have not. Okay.
Yep. Just at air shows, but I've not been down there and watched it. But it's that is the one thing fun about us going down to that Panhandle area, the times that we go down there November and December, because there's aircraft always flying everywhere. And Pensacola is about an hour further west than Destin, but I mean, it's a total Navy presence. And we just ran around there all weekend and thought about taking a hockey game in. We've done that a couple times when we were down there. They were playing Friday night, Saturday night, and then Sunday afternoon that they closed their season. The Pensacola Ice Flyers.
Oh, I like that. Great name.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I wanted to share this with you because you mentioned your back. This may make you feel old, and that you're just get ready for it.
You know what's so funny is I saw those old pilots, and I was guessing what William's age is, and he's probably about 7 or 8 years older than I am.
Yeah.
But man, he was really having a hard time with his mental. He was having a hard time remembering things, and he was just the cutest thing ever. But
you felt like he was a lot older than you.
And I know, like I said, I'm not the youngest guy in the world, but it's amazing sometimes it's amazing when you run up to a 60-year-old and see how old they actually look versus, me being close to 70. Everybody tells me I could still get by for at least 60. Some people tell me 55, and I I say quit lying to me, but yeah. Nope, not 55. Yeah. Sammy still looks good though at 78, or 76, whatever he is. But I think the best part about it, other than my knees, I don't feel old, so that's okay.
All right, well let me fill you in on how old I'm feeling these days, real quick, because you mentioned your back, so I forgot I had not shared this with you. So 3 weeks ago, it's been 3 weeks. 3 weeks ago, I was at the gym. It was a Tuesday. I did my workout. Great, really good workout. I feel like I talked to you that night, actually, possibly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And by the time I woke up Wednesday morning, I could barely walk.
Oh,
barely walk. My lower back had completely, for lack of a better term, I kept saying I'm locked up, like my back locked up. It was terrible, Dad. I was like rolling to get out of the bed. Chris kept saying, like, you just, when you go to sit, just engage your core, like really don't use your back at all. So when I would think about that, like think about just using the core, I could get up like a sit up.
Yeah.
Dad, it was fucking terrible. I mean, I couldn't sleep for 3 days because any position I was uncomfortable. I was like working from the bed. I couldn't sit in my desk chair for too long because the pressure of sitting, it was like it was just pounding down on my back. So that went on for a solid week. And then I was like, I thought, I think I may work out tomorrow. I think I'm going to go to the gym. And I did something. I went for a walk that day with Chris, just like a 1.5 mile walk. And by the time I got in bed that night to go to sleep, my back was killing me from just walking. And so I gave it another full week and I felt better. And then I woke up Monday morning sick. So I was sick all last week, which if I start coughing on this, I'm just giving everybody an apology now, because I sound like I'm like literally I'm a 80-year-old smoker. If we had to record this last week, people would have, I think, thought I was a different person. My voice was pretty much completely gone. I had that raspy smoker voice going, which I still kind of have it a little bit. So it's been a bitch, Dad. For 3 weeks, I've just been like not great. And so Liz actually texted me this morning and said, I'm going to hit the noon class. Do you want to go? And I said, I can't today because I had a work meeting. I said, but I fully plan to work out this week. So my plan is to go tomorrow, but I'm really nervous because I just don't want to, obviously I don't want to pull my, I don't even know. Like, I've never felt so old in my life though, as I have the last 3 weeks. I mean, cause I couldn't sit down. I couldn't stand up. It was a nightmare. So that's where I've been. That's what I've been physically.
But a lot of times what I've noticed, and this happened in the hall bathroom right next to the table that we planned that illustrious flight to Nashville and back in the helicopter. But when you're cold and, you kind of have sinus issues and you're just, I mean, sinuses and those kind of things, I think the fluids and I know you remember this of me telling the story about sitting on in that one morning, getting up, making coffee, getting in there and sitting on the toilet and then going to reach around and grab the toilet paper roll and just that motion, that torquing of your torso, and my back just locked up right then and there to where I couldn't even move to get up off the toilet. I mean, it hurt that bad. And it takes a long, and I do think that has something to do, obviously, with exercise or working out or tweaking and whatever it was before that. I don't know. But at that stage, that was a long, long time ago. But when it set and it wouldn't release, I mean, it's like you say, it can take a week for that just to kind of. And I remember at that point in time, I was getting I might have been working out with Wally at that point in time. I mean, that was in my 40s. That's been a long time ago, but I don't think it was that long ago. But I mean, it hits and it won't release is the problem. And I do think having a cold or having sinuses or whatever fluids you've got going on, or better yet, all of that.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about lactic acid. Nobody knows what the hell that is, but it's always what creates a lot of that soreness. And that lower back is definitely painful for sure.
Well, you talked
and
about,
it's nothing to mess around with either. So
no, and you talked about pulling it, going to the bathroom, where mine was so bad, Dad. I had to stand. This is a little TMI. But when I would go to the bathroom, and being a female, I'm constantly having to wipe. Right. I would have to stand up to wipe myself because I couldn't be seated.
Oh, I understand. Oh, I hear you.
And do that motion. So I would stand up and like be hovering. And it was just like Chris came by one day and I'm in the bathroom and I have the door like not fully closed. And I was like, ugh, like, and he's like, are you all right? I'm like, and I just like almost broke down into tears. I said, I can't even wipe myself, like this is terrible. And I obviously did wipe myself, but I had to work around that. But my God. So anyways, I all that to say, you look great. I'm glad for your age, you're feeling and looking great.
Well, anyway, it's not the motion. It's the motion. It's the motion. It's the motion at home that causes the issue. It's not the exertion. It's just that something kind of catches funny to where it's like stretching a rubber band that finally breaks. It just kind of creates that little.
Anyways,
I've never had a hernia, but I'm sure that that's probably a good comparison to just the pulled muscle in your back to where it just won't quit. But
yeah. Well,
That was going to the point. I was getting a tinge unit and all that stuff, trying to get that thing to work out. And just that does work too sometimes, but it's not a cure all. I think it's improper stretching, which we all
I
love
can tell
and
you
hate
what
to stretch.
for me, it's the lack of stretching is what's going on.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Not stretching it. And even at this day and age, that's the first thing I do every day is at least I have a 5-minute, 6-minute stretch exercise to go through before I jump on it. It's probably best if I would do it afterwards as well. So
no, I think that's smart. Do it before and after maybe, but you should send that to me because I have been trying to stretch at night before I get in bed. I've just been, I've got one of those, not a rope, but like a braided band that I can loop through I don't know what they call that, the silver metal thing, like a belt buckle that you can loop through. Yeah. Anyway, so I make a little loop. I put my foot through that, and I can meaning I can like flex my foot and pull it to the side, down, over. I've been doing that, and just
do you have an eye hook over here, and then you've got an eye hook over there, and you've got airframe cable going around where you just zip it up and it pulls you up and suspends you from the ceiling?
I don't have that, but I've had several people tell me I should get one of those inverted hanger things. I'm like, oh. Remember that original Batman movie where he hangs up in that thing? I'm like, I'm not going to get one of those fucking things, but whatever. People keep you should get one of those. I'm like, have you seen my house? Where would I put that thing in my house? So anyways, no, I'm not going to hang upside down. You know what I found that I just really love doing? I lay on my back, I straighten my leg, and I pull my leg in a straightened position over itself, over to the left, pull it back up, open it to the right. So like I'm going crossing over and then like basically a spread eagle. And it feels amazing. Like it's great and it's sad all at the same time. Like how tight I am doing all that. Cause I was so flexible earlier years, not anymore.
I was,
Can you picture this? I feel like you're just picturing.
I can picture it because I was in Florida at Cindy's condo or timeshare down there one year, and they had a masseuse there at the timeshare, and I signed up to go get a massage, and she actually did that same maneuver at the end of the massage to where she grabbed my leg and she said, "Just loosen up and let me go with it." And she wrapped that thing around like it was a noodle of spaghetti. And she goes, "You're really tight." And I said, "No shit." Was it me? Was it the pain and the tears? Or you could feel that just in the fact that drumstick wouldn't bend that way. I mean, but once she finished that, it felt so good after she did that. And she said, "Well, you need to do that more often." And I said, "Well, it sounds to me like it takes a crew of two, not one." I mean, Lordy. But
no,
I was laughing because when you said that, I remembered her just grabbing that sucker and throwing it way out there and then throwing it back over. And it felt good, but man.
I'll send you this strap thing I have. It really helps because, hell yeah. I'm not describing it well, and I'm sure it's I bet people are listening to this going like, it's this. Like I'll send you a picture of it tonight, but it really is helpful because it allows you to keep your legs straight when it's hard because you're not flexible. So I've been trying to do that, and just I don't know it's just an annoyance. So that's what's going on. That's what's been going on here physically, and I am approaching a birthday here soon, so another year older. But
yeah, you are.
Well, tell me I want to hear about the Villages, Florida's favorite. Is that right? Florida's favorite hometown, something like that. What's the jingle? All I know is it does go.
The jingle.
The Villages. It's something like that.
Yeah, I know we spent a little bit of time on that maybe on a previous episode. I was a little fearful going down there, but it was good. I can't say it's the easiest place to get to because you can either fly into Orlando
or
and
Tampa.
drive 50 minutes, or you can fly into Sanford. Sanford we flew Allegiant into Sanford, which is, kind of northeast of Orlando. And it was only 58 miles away, which I think Orlando's a little closer. It seemed about the same distance. Leslie picked us up. We didn't get in until like 11 something at night. So getting back was about a 55-minute drive. Getting back to it during the day was about an hour and a half drive. So that'd be the last time I would fly into Sanford. But going into Orlando Airport is probably a little closer. But I was impressed. I mean, the whole concept, I didn't know much about it. I mean, I know it's been there since the early 70s. I think it started in 71, 72. And it is 57 acres, which when you think about that, that does not sound all that big, but it covers a lot of area. And the concept is to have a planned community with a town center. Mm-hmm. When I say a town center, just kind of a midtown gathering area. Mm-hmm. The biggest one that we went into was Brownwood, and that had kind of a amphitheater-like thing in the middle of the square, and then it had commercial shopping center kind of around it, and anything that you wanted. A neat little deal. Leslie and Carol were at the Sawgrass area, same kind of thing. Had had a rail car which opened and closed the door. It was the bandstand. Mm-hmm. And then they had, again, just a really cool outdoor venue right there, a little bit of shopping, not like what Brownwood had. It was just more of convenience, a restaurant or two and things like that. Nothing that you could buy a pair of sunglasses or buy clothes. That was kind of what Brownwood was. And there's bigger, what they call town centers. But there's these areas planted all over this 57 acres, little developments around a city center. And then you've got neighborhoods amongst that. But there is more to do, more organized stuff going on. I mean, they publish a freaking paper weekly that is like the Dallas Observer. That's about 105 pages of anything that you want in a schedule for the same. So if you name the hobby, you name the activity, it's going.
And that's open regardless of your community within the community.
Yeah, and you can go anywhere. You can go do it at any one of the. It's wide open. You can travel 15 minutes away, 20 minutes away to go to any one of these little community centers and partake. It's $199 a month that you get charged for this activity, which allows you to.
So that's your
anything
activity
and everything
fee
that you want to do. It's an activity fee.
Okay.
You get to play all the golf you want with the exception of the championship golf, which you have to pay, I think, $75 to participate in an 18-hole championship golf course. But they've got pitch and putt. They got executive golf, which is par 3, par 4, pitch and putt. And then they have, what we did mostly, was a putting green that is yards long. I mean, 40 yards long, to where you can, if it's an easy hole, you can make it in 2 putts. An easy hole that's 2 putts, you can go 4 putts with the layout of it. It's walking. It's not like a putt is what I'm trying to say. It's actually a green, and it is a lot of green. So that was a lot of fun. You've got that going on. You got pickleball galore. You've got indoor centers that has billiards. It has shuffleboard. It's got ping pong. It's got activities. If you want to take a sewing class, anything and everything that you want to do, that they have that. It's got bridge clubs. It's got all kinds of things that occur each and every day.
Do they put on shows or anything? Is there entertainment?
Oh, there's a show every day at 5:00 at the square. A band is playing.
Nice. So every day.
Every day. Now on Sundays, on the weekends, it's usually mid-afternoon. They actually have they had a band at 3, and then they brought on an evening band thereafter. So there's plenty of that stuff going on. And they've got bars right there. You've got tables. It's really difficult to get a place to sit People go, they play golf, they have their activities. By mid-afternoon at 2:00, people are starting to run around and carouse around the town center. 3:00, it's getting more crowded. The pickleball courts are off on the left. The golf courses are all around it there. By 4:00 and 5:00, that parking lot starts filling up. And then at 5:00, when that band, hits that first riff and that first drum beat goes, it's happy hour. Well, it's been happy hour since 2, but
I love it.
It is just a very, very cool thing. And I think the coolest part is it's privately owned. It's owned by a family. Family started this. The founder is obviously a grandpa that's gone. The three, the son from the father kind of took it over, and now it's the 3 kids from the original father that are actually running it right now. And they are developed. I'm not sure how they acquire the land, but they do. And of course they have huge community pools. They have different, they have pools that the guests can go into and pools that the owners can go into, just to kind of keep that separated. If you're a visitor, you're not allowed all the privileges of this pool or that pool, but you can go you get a visitor's pass. I mean, there's a lot of people. I met a few that go down there each and every year as snowbirds, and they just rent a place. But the houses are in such demand that as soon as they put the lots on the market,
they're gone.
They are gone.
Wow.
And a new home and a new community is being built. The average villager will buy 3 homes while they're in the village.
Oh, wow.
So they'll buy their starter home, they'll move up again, and then they'll move up a third time. Everybody goes through, on average, at least 3 purchases if they are
like
there.
A bigger house or a nicer house, or what's the change in the house?
View is important. You got lagoons everywhere. You got water views. You got golf course views. You have smaller 1,500 square foot,
little bungalows.
Little bungalows. Then you have, a 2,000 square, but so you have an interior lot, kind of like in the lake lot views, so
you take what you can get to get in. And then you wait.
Oh, you got to get in the lottery.
That's what I mean. So you get in with whatever you can get, and then you hope that you can upscale or move up.
Yeah. So when we took the tour, we were so impressed with the Sanderling model that we sat down and actually went through a day after we spent 2 days looking at these homes.
Yeah.
And you can buy one of these for $300,000, $400,000. There's some up there that are worth, $3 million or $2.8 million. I don't think I saw a $3 million one. And of course they classify them by premier lots, to where they got a little bit bigger lot. They've got a much nicer view. You can get on the golf course view. You can get on a lake view, and based upon the view designates the cost of the property.
Sure.
And so when they go in and they plan this accordingly, they have to put the infrastructure. The infrastructure is all there. They're building the pools, they're building the community, they're building the golf courses ahead of them ever plotting and building a house, just because they want people to know that the amenities are going to be there when they come in and get their houses built.
Right.
So they release it in sections, little pieces of so many lots at a time. And they had open house for all their models, and it was just kind of crazy. It was like a Sunday festival day where they've got trolleys that get you around. You've got your golf carts that get you around. They were running trolleys over to the model homes, and everybody was looking at the model homes because they were getting ready to release a group of lots right there on the golf course over there by Eastport in a new community. And we had met somebody in Brownwood when we went to the Brownwood community and went to the sales office just to see what all this is about. Leslie saying, you need to check this out. This is really cool. And so we did. And so we met an agent and talked to her, and she was telling us about the model home day that was opening up tomorrow and to come by and take a look. And we did. And so we were all in, all excited about this. And I said, this is really, really cool. And, they can turn a house in about 3 months. Once you get the property, and it's all concrete precast panels, which means that the walls are built in a factory. The windows are pre-glazed into the walls when they set them. And so they are setting the entire length of the home and the perimeter of the home probably in about a day when they get moving.
It's like a barn raising.
It is. It's that quick. I mean, it's like a it is. And then they go in and they actually put the timber on the inside, do the interior. But in about 3 to 4 months, they're over and done and out of there. So, and the quality of work, you know me, I mean, it's high end quality.
It's
and
good
you
though.
Can pay, you can pay $1 million for one of these without any problem if you want a golf course view or a premier lot view.
Okay.
So the way this works, just to kind of fill you in, and not to get in, most people probably don't care, and hopefully a lot of people know how this does work, but you have to get in the lottery to get the lot. There's such a demand for the lots. There's such a demand for a better view. So we go out there and we tour after figuring out what home we would be interested in buying, the model of the home, and you go out there and you look at the lot to say, okay, well, here's a lot, here's a lot, here's a lot, here's a lot. And, and then you've got all these scatterings of interior lots that usually a smaller home will fit on, or the bungalow will fit on, or, the 1,500 square foot will fit on. So just the difference in the cost from an interior lot, let's just say it's $20,000. That's about right. $29,000. You get on the golf course, and depending on where it is at the golf course, depending upon the view of the golf course, they've got this down to a science. I mean, you look at the pricing and you can see, okay, you've got a clear view to the green. You've got a clear view to the tee box, or better yet, you're not at the tee box.
Right. You're not there.
The tee box is $199,000. The green is $229,000. The ones that you have the pretty oak trees in, it's $279,000. And again, depending on the size of the lot and the view of the lot, it's a premium. It's a premium of about 10 over what you're going to pay on an inside lot. Now, the problem with the inside lot is you can't put as big a house on it. And then they have other communities that are the premier communities to where they're on roughly, 3/4 of an acre. And better yet, a green belt, and better yet, a pond view, or better yet, you can put you have a bigger backyard to deal with. It is a science. It is a freaking science. It's like doing surgery. So you go out there and you decide, okay, you get 3 choices of the lot you want, and you put your name in it that you are, if one of these come up and you win the lottery,
you're going to buy
it. To move. You're going to, you have you have 3 hours, I think it is, to make the choice. Yes, I want it, or no, I don't.
Wow.
So we go through and we select 3. We've got our favorite to our least favorite. And as it turns out, our favorite won't accommodate the house won't accommodate the house with the full expansion that we hoped. So that kind of came out of favor. And we went to 3 other lots to say, okay, this is 1, 2, and 3. And actually our favorite one by the view was really probably, it wasn't the best. Of course, it was the higher priced one, but we put a low to a middle to a high.
To a high. Okay.
To a high to see what would happen. Now, if it happens, you've got 3 hours to make a decision, and then you give them $5,000 to hold the lot.
Oh, so you're not like, it's not like if you get this, you're locked in. You didn't put your 5,000 in already. So you could still say like, nah, never mind.
I didn't win the lottery.
Oh, you're still not in it. You're out.
No.
But you don't
put any money in it. You don't put any money in it unless you win the lottery on the lot. So we could have gotten our least favorite and we could have said pass.
Right. But do you re-enter the lottery? Like by default, if you don't get it? Or do you have to do this whole thing again?
Yeah, it's a marathon. It's a marathon of entering the lottery. Yep.
But I guess what I'm saying is like, you didn't win that lottery. So now do you say, I want the same valued lot, put me back in, and it'll auto re-enroll you, or you got to go through all that again of picking?
You go through that all again on a new release of the lots, because those lots went. Those lots go. You've got your agents going on at 8:00 in the morning, and they are just it's a thumb punch. It's kind of like bingo. Your number's called or it's not.
It's like getting Taylor Swift tickets. Wow.
Yep. So they all went, and we weren't in the running. So,
Are you
which
over it?
didn't hurt
Are you
my
over it, or are
feelings.
you going to re-enter?
I don't know. It just depends on where it is. I mean, again, I think we found a really cool, something that favored us, something that, I still, there's plenty of homes that are out there that are available to buy. I mean, these things go quick. There is a demand. This is a money machine. There is a demand. They aren't hanging around for 360 days or 180 days. They're gone in a matter of weeks. So people are looking for them. They're a hot commodity. You can go down there and rent one for 3 months if you want to, which I think that's something that we've considered to do maybe next winter.
Are Leslie and Carol, are they planning to spend more time there than in Delaware, or are they going to be true snowbirds?
Well, I think right now Carol bought that in 2022 and she rented it for 2 years.
Yeah, you said that.
And I'm telling you, these things these things will go. I mean, for a $300,000 or $400,000 property, which even in today's market rate and interest rates will cost you probably about $2,700 a month. They rent these things out for $5,000 to $8,000 a month.
What?
Just in the wintertime.
Wow. So
the couple we had met had been down there for 8 years successively in the same house with the same owner, renting it for $5,000 a month. So in 3 months,
for just the winter,
just for 3 months in the winter.
Wow, $15,000 for 3 months.
Yep.
Dang.
That covered his payments. That could have covered his payments at that time when he bought it for probably the full year.
Yeah, no doubt. Wow.
So
Man.
it's you're not going to lose money going down there, whether you decide to stay or whether you decide to sell. It's going to pay you back what you put into it for sure.
That's incredible.
Mm-hmm. It is.
But overall,
it's
you guys
amazing.
had a good trip.
Good trip, good time. Would love to go back. Answering your question, Leslie and Carol. This is really. They were down there last year. They were here this year. Their game plan. They really enjoy it. There's again enough golf. There's enough. Leslie's playing bridge every Monday night on her getting her rankings up, and Carol's out there doing what she does, and golf galore, pickleball galore. Who's
playing pickleball? I'm loving pickleball these days, right? I've told you.
We played pickleball while we were there, so
it's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's easy. It's easy play. A lot of fun, and that was fun. We went to the gaming center, shot one Saturday or one Sunday. We were over there and we were shooting pool and playing shuffleboard, and that was a lot of fun. We didn't make it to any of the pools, but we made it to the outdoor music. That was amazing. That was really, really, that's our vibe and what we really love.
Yeah. What?
So,
did you end up going to Harry Potter World then?
Oh no, I bailed on that.
Okay.
No, I'm glad I didn't. They were there all freaking day.
Oh yeah. Well, you have to for what you
both
pay.
Parks. Yep.
Yeah.
I wasn't about that. Mom and I and Suzanne hung out at the house.
All right. Well,
it was good.
That's awesome. That's great. I love that. I like that. I love that you spring braked at the Villages.
Yeah, we didn't get into any trouble. I didn't see it. I didn't. I've heard lots of crazy things about that. Nobody hit
on you or anything?
Nope, nobody hit on anybody that I saw.
Wow.
We had more I had more problems at the Daggone Air Museum the other day on Saturday with those old men hitting on Suzanne. I mean, I had like 3 and 4 of them on there.
Well, she's right up their alley. She's got that sweet Southern blond
draw
going.
Old Doug and old William both. I mean, they were always wanting. We had a bunch of. We had a bunch of people in our group. I mean, we had 20 people in the group, and they kept calling Suzanne out to, hey, they would talk about, a pretty woman, and they'd say, just like this one over here. And then Bud, who was one of the other guys, that he was actually a fighter pilot on one of the carrier, the George Bush carrier that he actually operated on. And he was about the same age, but he hit on her as soon as we walked through the door, and he said, "Man, you're a good looking lady." And he looked over at me and he said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I guess you're with this guy here." But I was so funny. I think back on this just in flying, and David and Amon and all these pilots. They are full of themselves. They're heroes in their own mind for sure, and they're obviously good pilots and servicemen that be congratulated. But man, they are womanizers galore. They sure are.
Oh yeah,
they love the pretty ladies. So,
I
the
believe
Top
it.
Gun movie, the Top Gun movie sells
Top
it
Gun,
perfect.
baby.
Yep.
Top Gun Maverick.
Uh-huh.
That's great. Well, I'm glad y'all had a good time. And yeah, I mean we're rolling into where I just feel like we're so late to everybody. I mean, our spring break doesn't happen until we're spring break April 14th, the week before Easter. So that'll be our spring break. And I'm just my plan right now is just work in the mornings and take the afternoons off and do some like local stuff with the kids. Not going to spend the money to go anywhere. We've got so much, hockey coming up in the springtime where we'll be, I think I'd already mentioned this, but we got to go to, we'll be in Pittsburgh for a weekend, first weekend of May. Then we go Memorial Day, we're in Boston. And then the following weekend we're in Montreal, all for hockey. So, and it's like, it's nothing, not like you're really getting out much, but it's still, getting there. Hotels, food.
Oh yeah, it's costly for sure.
All the jazz.
How much is that contract that Parker signed paying him?
Well, that was the big joke. You want to hear this? So I guess I'll give a little backstory.
I guess
for
they
everybody.
gave him an ink pen and a line to sign on.
Well, I guess let's give a little bit. Let me, since you asked, Dad's referring to Parker signing his contract for his fall team next year. Dad, I have had such an education in, I mean, I don't even want to say hockey because I have a feeling this is any, as Parker is going into any AAA being the highest level of play, sporting program for a child. But
yeah,
so I'm going to keep this short. I'm going to give you a little bit of background. We just completed what I will call tryout season, and what I've learned of that, and this happens in March, is that every year I'm probably going to dread those 2 weeks of March more than most weeks of the year. It's just gross. It's very gross. So we had Parker has played out of Iceworks in Aston since he learned to skate at the age of 3.5 years old. And originally, I would say it was Chris and I's dream, which became Parker's dream, for him to play for the AAA Little Flyers organization. And he's put in a lot of hard work and a lot of time to get to a point where we felt confident that he would make that team before he even tried out. I'll leave it at that. We had a lot of confidence that was where we were going to go. Well, a couple of months ago, I just had some concerns, a little bit of frustration, and I started thinking about the potential of Parker trying out for a different AAA organization that runs out of New Jersey. Another very, very good club. They do very well. They actually play in the same league that Parker will play in. So this is a team that we will play against. So fast forward to, it's now time for what they call pre-skates. So pre-skates are the week or two before the actual team tryout. And pre-skates are just that. It's anywhere from 3 to 4 ice sessions to go out, and they run drills, they run skating drills for that organization that you are considering trying out for. So I decide about a week before pre-skates that I am going to sign Parker up to do pre-skates at this other hockey club
in New Jersey.
And in making this decision, you've got to pay. The way they run their pre-skates is you got to buy the package. So it's 4 available ice sessions for $120. You got to buy all 4. Whereas for the Little Flyers, it was 3 pre-skate sessions that you could buy individually. So Parker was already signed up for those. So I go on to this other club and I'm like, all right, well, he's going to miss one of these because he's got Little Flyers and that's the priority. So he'll miss the one, but whatever, I'll eat the $30 and we'll go to the other 3. So the first pre-skate at the New Jersey club was on a Tuesday night. Okay. So I take Parker Tuesday night and there was another family from our team last year that also went with us as well.
Okay.
And we go to this pre-skate and I it's very clear to me that a lot of the kids that will end up being on the team aren't at this pre-skate because not to sound like an asshole, but the talent wasn't that great. I mean, in my opinion, Parker was probably the best kid there, closely ranked to his current teammate. And then there was one other kid that I didn't know that was a good player, like very competitive. So we leave there and I'm like, all right. So that was Tuesday night. Wednesday is nothing. Thursday night, we have pre-skates in Aston for Little Flyers. Well, Wednesday, I had gotten a text from the mom that went with us that said she had been texted by another family on a different team, but a current Little Flyers player that said, do you know who the 1494 players that were at PHC pre-skates last night? And my friend said, like, well, we were there, meaning they were there. She didn't say, the Edwardses were there or anything like that. So my friend had said, just a heads up, like, people know we were there. And I was like, okay, I'm not hiding anything. I didn't do anything wrong. So that was Wednesday. So Thursday night, I had something that prohibited me from leaving for the rink with Chris and Parker. So Chris takes Parker up and I'm like on my way to Iceworks to meet them there for the first pre-skates for Little Flyers. Okay. And I get a call from Shane, hockey club Shane, not brother Shane. And Shane and I are close. So I he's calling, I answer the phone. I'm like, what's going on? I'm like 5 minutes from the rink at this point. And he just says, do you have any idea who from your team would have been at PHC pre-skates? And I said, well, yeah, because it was me.
Oh my.
And it goes silent and he just says, why would you do that? And I said, well, Shane, I was interested in seeing what the talent was like there. I wanted to see how Parker compared. It's a competitive program. I was just interested. And he's like, well, you have no idea what ramifications that has. And I'm like, well, I guess I don't. And he's like, I know this is your first year really trying out, but like, I've got people calling me now asking why they should come try out for Little Flyers when kids I've said are going to be on this team aren't even are trying out for another team. And I just said, well, here's the deal, Shane, we aren't registered to try out. I wanted to see what the competition was like. I was interested to see how Parker compared against other levels of, I didn't know. And Dad, it was a fucking shit show. I mean, I had people texting me for a solid week, like, what's going on? What are you doing? Why is Parker leaving? And I'm like, we're not leaving. Like, it just became this whole thing. And I ended up, we got through pre-skates like Shane was like, well, he said something. I said, Shane, Parker is at Iceworks right now. And he's like, oh, he's not because PHC was doing their second pre-skates the same night. And I said, no, he's in Aston. He's not in New Jersey. I was like, I just pulled in to the parking lot. Like, I am here. And he's like, oh, okay, well, I'll come find you. I'll talk to you in a minute. I'm like, yeah, like we're here. So we talked, and he obviously had to like do his thing that night because that was going on. And we ended up talking on the phone again later that night. And I said, look, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cause drama. I said, but, first of all, I'm a 43-year-old mother. I'm allowed to do whatever the fuck I want to do for my child, period. Mm-hmm. I'm going to leave it at that. And he's like, I understand. He's like, I just, and he even was like, it's really gross, but I'm just telling you what happened because of what you did. And I'm like, okay, but at the end of the day, this is my child. I'm going to do what's best for my child. And part of me knowing that was me seeing what my other options were. And I'm about to sign a $5,000 contract for my 9-year-old to play hockey for 6 months of the year, where I will then sign another $3,000 contract for him to continue to play spring hockey. So like, give me a break. I am allowed to do whatever I want to do to make sure my child is getting the best opportunity for the amount of money I am investing in a 9-year-old to play hockey. And
that's not $5,000 in your wallet. That's $5,000 in their wallet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For me to be like feeling grief about going over here to potentially consider maybe trying out for another team. And the other messed up thing is that these organizations, the tryouts, Dad, they run them the same night. So you can't go try out for another team.
Yeah.
Unless you are good enough that well, if I go there and then say, hey, and that's the other thing, they want you signing the contract the first night. They want you to sign your commitment the first, even though it's a 3-night or 2-night tryout, they want you signing that night. So
why is that?
Because they want to lock you in so you don't go to another club.
Oh, I see.
So if your kid is good enough, you have enough power where you can say, I'm not signing. We're going here. And then you can make a choice, which was what I was considering doing. And then after everything that happened, and because of my relationship with Shane and his wife, and because I do truly respect them and what they do for my child and all that, I told him, like, look, we're committed for a year. We're here. We are in it. But I have certain expectations that if they are not met, I'm not committing past that. Like, we will consider. And he got that, and we had a good conversation. But it's like, it's so ridiculous.
I would think Shane is a coach and he's an ex-player. I mean, I would, and that's the question I would have asked him. Shane, if it was such that you didn't think Park was going to get the level of play, and I don't know how he assesses that right now. I mean, the kids are young, but still they have skills, and, Park's worked hard and has done very well. And obviously, anyway, everybody wants to play, and everybody wants to, if they're dedicating as much time as they do, their hope is that they become better and better, and obviously want a career, which is kind of funny to say at their age, but they hope to play college, hockey or whatever, a higher level of hockey each and every year. And if you can't give them that, then I would think Shane, as a coach and knowing the system and how it works, you got to move on and you got to go up to the next level. And that may be 50 miles from home. So, I mean,
Yeah.
that's not unusual in hockey. Everybody knows that. Shoot, you ship them off and put them into Canada for juniors or whatever. And I think the level of play here in the U.S. has changed to where that's not necessarily as important as it once was. But I can't say that I know that for sure. You would, but.
No, you're right. But what has become just really sad, and it is sad. Like I get reels daily about this concept in and of itself, that why would anyone spend, number one, that kind of money?
Mm-hmm.
And I just exposed a very personal thing to Chris and I, what we spend, but
Yeah.
I think people should know, like and people whose kids do this, they do know. And by the way, that's just what we spend for his team tuition. That's not,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know this.
That's
Parker,
not the travel. That's not taking care of any of the expenses.
That's not the
or
travel.
gear.
Yeah, let's just say that. That's not the travel.
It's not like they get gear or anything like that.
No, and everybody acts like the gear is expensive. I mean, the gear is expensive, but like the gear is expensive in everything. I mean, a baseball bat is $250. A lacrosse stick is $250. So when everyone's like, "Oh, hockey's expensive," hockey is not expensive in the sense that the gear is
any more so.
Hockey is expensive because when you play at an elite level, travel is always associated, as well as your tuition is always higher because you're paying for ice time, and ice is expensive, so that's always there. But also, like any other person that's putting their child at an elite level, I'm not even counting what we pay in lessons, private lessons alone, for him to get supplemental advancement, because quite frankly, people are like, well, doesn't he get that from his practices? No, he doesn't get that from his practices.
No.
His practices are there for them to coach a team, to work on drills at a team. They're not there to tell Parker, you're not hitting your edges right when you're doing that drill. Your head's down when you're shooting that shot. Your stick is open. They're not doing any of that. They're not, because they can't. And I understand that. So if you want your kid to play at a level again, I'm just going to keep reemphasizing, I realize this is any sport, but sports have become skills-based. It's all skills-based. So the days of where you were worried that your kid wasn't big enough, tall enough, strong, it's not necessarily a problem anymore. Now it's all about it's skills-based sports. And meaning the smallest kid, if they are good enough now, still stands a chance at playing at a higher level because everything is so skills-based. So it's very different. It's not all about size anymore. Where when you were a kid, it was like, well, how big are they? Are they a big kid?
Yeah.
That's not the parameter anymore.
Yeah, I think and that's a good point, because to be good at anything, everybody says, well, they've got a natural talent. Well, yeah, they may have a natural talent, but the talent still has to be developed. And what takes developed, the kids aren't able to develop that talent.
No.
And better yet, in today's competition of sport, unlike yesteryears, I mean, people grew naturally and walked into a sport and went to college and played ball and became, they became the timeline of what it takes to be a competitive player is early on, to where it probably, you hear about kids that picked up basketball as a junior in high school and became, Michael Jordan, good case in point.
Yeah.
That was not his best sport or his favorite sport. He excelled. He loved baseball as well. So but this is true about anything and everything. I don't care if you're playing pickleball, or if you're playing bocce ball, or if you're throwing shuffleboard at the villages. The people that are good at it, they practice, yes, but you can get instruction on anything these days.
Yeah.
And it does take, I never really thought about having, and this is just something I realized in the last few weeks about and I say this that's kind of stupid that I say that, but the fact that you've got a motocross instructor, or you've got an instructor showing you how to freestyle jump these bikes these days. I mean, it was so funny in me following those jumper reels on Facebook and liking those, that one of the coaches reached out to me and liked my that I was liking his reels.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
Oh, yeah.
And so his last name is Dress. And I mean, and I see him everywhere. And well, we're not, it's spring break. We're not having school this week. We're not doing lessons this week. So it's think about how it's crazy to think about the amount of money in anything. And I laugh at that because if you remember the one time that I flew a helicopter up to Springfield, Illinois, because I got on a dirt track to do the oval mile from Springfield, Illinois, which is flat tracking. And they put us on a bunch of dirt bikes for the weekend and we ran around flat tracking. And that experience as an adult was eye-opening to know that you trying to run that bike around that course on your own, you may have some talent at it, but with them whipping a 20-foot flag and smacking your elbow for each turn that you were dropping your elbow instead of getting it up.
Yep.
I mean, that made all the difference in the world. So that's a great point, that it's to excel at anything, and golf the same way.
Everything.
Anyway, I think it's just
anything.
Amazing the amount of money that it takes to put kids into these programs. And as we all know, you can burn out on it real quick because
Absolutely.
It does become too serious. And you can walk away from it from 12 as much as you can progress on. And I hope that everybody I know the dedication and the effort that it takes and the skill that it takes. And if they stick with it for that long, I just hope that they're able to stick with it, enjoy it, and carry it on to whatever level needs to be, and are thankful for it, because all these athletes that we watch on TV and admire so much, there's a lot of kids that come from just natural ability, but instruction sure as hell doesn't hurt. So
it doesn't. And then you take into account the intellectual side of it, and which kids have that, and that's where, your grandson, where Park, he is different. He is different because is he the most, this is what drives me crazy about Parker, is you watch Parker do any skill-based exercise, drills, practice, and you put him up against the top, and I'm like, he's doing it all. Mm-hmm. You put him against reading the ice intellectually, and it's like his brain, where Parker still is not where he could be based on his skills, is his gameplay. And that's where we're like, we are literally, Dad, Chris and I talk about this all the time, where it's like we are flipping a fucking coin, where it's like that's either going to click or it's not. And it's not to say he doesn't play games well. That's not what I mean. He does, but he, in my opinion, he does not play games to the same level that translate to his skills. If you watch him in any practice,
I hear you.
You're like,
yeah.
And it's some games are better than others, and you're just like, you watch him, and then in a practice and what he does, and you've seen him in a practice, you've seen him in a private lesson, and you're like, wow. And then you watch him in a game, and it's not that he's bad, but you're like, well, where's that kid? So we're really right now with Parker, what we're just working on is like the mental side of it. Like, believe in yourself, have confidence in yourself, play the game with confidence, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how good they are in a practice. It's how they play the game. So
yeah, that's a great comparison, because you're right. I mean, I go back to Kelsey's when she was riding and being coached constantly about riding and about riding and about riding, and her best riding was always in practice. It never was in the event. And the reason it wasn't, I think, in the event is because there's a little bit of relaxation there. You're not being disciplined. You're out there on the ice. You get to do what you want to do. You kind of make, you get lazy. You aren't going where you're supposed to go. In a structured environment, you're able to maintain that structure and you're able to perform at a level which is probably, and every athlete's the same way. They are better in practice. You put them in a real game situation, the ball, the pitcher that's throwing you pitches isn't out there on the practice man throwing you pitches. It's a real pitcher throwing you pitches.
It's a mental game. I mean, Parker's biggest concern is like
total repetition.
Yeah, his thing is, it's not even repetition. It's his biggest holdup right now is like failing. Like he's afraid to make a mistake where we're like, buddy, when you're taking the puck up the ice, like he's an exceptional skater. Like he's an exceptional skater. I'm like, use your skating.
Go.
Just do it. And he's like, to try something different. He freezes because he's so afraid of doing the wrong thing that he doesn't have the relaxation to just try anything. And you see it in his posture, like in practice, he's low, he's down, he's like, and then you see him in a game and everything just comes up. It's like heightened awareness because he wants to win. He cares about winning. He cares about doing the right thing. So that's what we're working on right now. And we talk with Shane about that a lot because Parker does private, semi-private lessons with him. And we have a very transparent relationship where I'm like, hey, this is what he's saying. This is what he's doing. And Shane's aware of that and telling him like, it's okay to make mistakes. It's Parker, you miss the net. People miss the net. It's not a big deal. So we're working on that. But all that to say, it's a lot. And yet everyone always asks me, Dad, they're like, does he love it? Does he want to play? And I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't do this shit if he didn't love it. Like, like, you think I'm doing this because I'm that obsessed with hockey? Like, I can watch the Flyers lose every other week. You know what I mean? From October to June, not even June because they don't make the playoffs, but like I can do that on my own. But yeah, he does love it. Like he wants to do it. He wants to play. So it's a balance though of not burning out, of having fun. But I believe.
Well, but again, you have to think. You're right, emotionally or even intellectually, he is a young kid, and he's not. And I understand he's following structure and trying to do what he's told, and that's very confusing. Versus, it will. I think it will come more with obviously development of thought, development of take a risk and be okay that you took the risk rather than failed at the risk. You know what I mean? That
confident. It's all confidence.
You're only going to get, you're only going to get 3 out of 9. So go ahead and take 9 and you get 3. I mean, just live it that way. You've got to, the risk has, the reward has to be felt, and, there doesn't need to be any risk or pigeonholing because, you're a good skater and you should be able to skate circles around these guys. So go out there and do it. Don't worry about, give it a shot of just, and that's hard for a youngster to do, especially when they are coached, and trying to move and do what they're told to do. And, that I could see that being a really, really difficult time for him and you and everybody, but I'm just proud that he stuck with it. And I know it's a big investment, but, I haven't seen anything about him that the camaraderie that he has with the kids that are on his team, with the neighborhood kids that are a part of it as well. I mean, it's a great socialization skill and learning experience as well, to where, you don't want that to be his only end all, but at this point in time, it kind of is. And as long as he enjoys it, that's perfectly fine. That's what he loves doing. So he could love getting in trouble and hanging out with other things that just create more issues, and you don't want that either. So it's good discipline.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and having your kids in activities, I strongly believe in that, whatever that activity may be, especially these days where so much of it drives to screens and all that. I'm just like, just
that's true.
Just get out of that and be active, be physical. So he's proud of, at the end of the day, his goal was to make this team. He made the team. We are excited for next year. He's excited. I think he's proud of himself, which That's the most important thing. So yeah, we're excited for that, and
Mm-hmm.
he's going to wear the orange and black next year. He's going to be a
Awesome.
little flyer. So
Yep.
more to come.
All righty. That's
Well,
awesome.
Yeah. Good catching up.
Mm-hmm.
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 Why don't you go get yourself some dinner now?
I'm ready. I'm hoping Miss Suzanne got it fixed, so I'm not having to wait on it. We'll see.
Samesies. I'm hoping the same thing. I just got a.
Okay, hon.
I just saw
What'd
I
you
had
get?
a. Well, I just got a text message from Parker. It says, "Where you at?" They won't go to bed if I'm not home, Dad. These
That's
kids.
right. That's right.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're home.
Yep. Good to be home. Good to be back. And
Let's do coffee. Let's do coffee on Saturday. Want to?
I can do that. We're actually going to go to Shane's this weekend.
Oh, forget that then.
Well, we can do coffee. Suzanne and I will be in the room.
All right. You can fill me in on.
We're staying in the hotel.
Oh, all right. Oh, good call. You can fill me in on what's going on with the McClinics.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. All righty.
I love
Talk
you.
to you later. I love you. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you for tuning in today. With so many podcasts out there, we are grateful you chose to spend your time with us.
And we'd love to hear from you. So send us your questions, comments, and feedback to info@twoclicksinapod.com, and we might feature your message in a future episode.
Also, don't forget to follow us on social and head over to our YouTube channel where you can watch the full episode live and in living color. You can find us at 2 Clicks in a Pod. That's 2, as in the number, clicks in a pod.
Well, James, until next time, love you.
Love you too, Daddy.